Pakistan stands accused by its closest allies of failing to do enough in the so-called war on terror. But this nuclear nation is locked in a brutal war here in the tribal district of Bajour. In this two-part series, I've traveled through the tribal areas to witness the human cost and the reality on the ground for the Pakistani army. Bajour is now the front line in the Pakistani army's fight with the militants, and what happens in this battle could decide the fate of the war on terror in the tribal areas and across the border in Afghanistan. The headquarters for Pakistan's military operations in the tribal areas which border Afghanistan is here in Peshawar. It's dominated by the huge Bala Hisar fort, the headquarters of the Frontier Corps. I first came to this historic city as a student. The Frontier Corps, along with Pakistan's army, is fighting the key campaign in Bajour. The increase in suicide attacks against the military means that the security is tight. Walking up between the massive walls of this fortress is to take a journey back in time. The size of the fort tells its own story of a violent and unstable region where for centuries rulers have fought insurgents and lost against a tribal society that has fiercely resisted outsiders. The British took it over in 1849 and established the Frontier Corps. It was set up to subdue the tribes of the northwest frontier, which straddle the border with neighboring Afghanistan. Yet, to this day, the force is still recruited mostly from these local tribes. This building used to be used by the British as prisoner cells, but they've now been turned into a museum that capture the entire history of the Frontier Corps. Right the way through, you find all the familiar names: Waziristan, Swat Valley, and of course the Bajour Agency and insurgency. Not all the visitors have been military men. And here's George Bush Sr., the father of George W. Now, this is where the gallows were, where the British used to hang suspected rebels and insurgents.
That's a very big drop.
Leading the operations in Bajour is Major General Tariq Khan. He's been a soldier for over 30 years. He was born and raised in the tribal areas, so he knows the Maliks, who are the local tribal leaders. He speaks their language and he understands their traditional values. But in terms of society and how it was governed, the role of the Maliks, the role of the clergy or the mullahs, how are things different now to when you knew them as a boy?
Well, basically the role of the clergy was, it was insignificant. What's happened over the years is that the tribal Malik has either been removed or has become totally irrelevant, and the clergy have taken over. It has now become into an ideological thing to some extent.
Because the mullah is all powerful.
Because the mullah is all powerful. One of the things which I feel in defeating militancy and extremism, etc., is to fall back on one's traditional culture. People have to be affiliated with their past. Identity has to be established, and I think culture is going to show the way to society.
As a bugle sounds the last post, it's easy to forget here in the fort the danger facing the men not far away in Bajour.